The Sunni militant juggernaut has now swept southward in Iraq's Anbar province, and ISIS insurgents now control some 70% of the vast region. Now have a look at some YouTube video purporting to show militant fighters rolling into the town of Al-Qaim. That's a key border crossing between Iraq and Syria. ISIS fighters have also seized a number of towns in the Euphrates Valley on the road to Baghdad, as you can see on this map. And now word they've also captured the western town of Rutba, just 110 kilometers from the Jordanian and Saudi borders, after Iraqi forces withdrew. But in other areas, Iraqi forces are fighting back. These Defense Ministry pictures are from an anti-insurgent patrol northeast of Baghdad. We have Nick Robertson live in Baghdad. We have to catch up with him. Oh, we've got him now. Nick, what can you tell us about, once again, the extremists gaining ground, crucial ground, it would seem, without much of a fight?
Well, we know from the tribes, they say that they have told the soldiers in Al-Anbar in various bases that if they didn't put down their weapons, put on civilian clothes and go to their houses, that they wouldn't be safe, that they couldn't guarantee their safety. Now, these are the tribes that are fighting with the ISIS fighters. The government casts this in a slightly different way. The government says that what they have performed is a strategic withdrawal so that they can focus their forces elsewhere, the periphery of Baghdad to the west being one, and Diyala province to the north of Baghdad, where they've had patrols recently. But what we've seen ISIS do is consolidate their gains in the west in Al-Anbar. Most recently, the town of Rutba, about half an hour's drive from both the Saudi and the Jordanian border. I've driven through that town many, many times in the past. There's absolutely nothing between it and the border crossing into Jordan and into Saudi Arabia. There's a tiny border post at a tiny town, or not even a town, it's called Trabil, is the Iraqi side of the border post. And the latest unconfirmed reports we have is that the Iraqi army who were there at that border post have now left, and that the tribal forces are at that border post, right up against the border with Jordan. John?
Now, we were just looking at a map. In fact, it looks like a picture of retreat and defeat, and there is public pressure for the United States to do something about it, at least government pressure to intervene. There are these advisors going in, but the U.S. president had something very remarkable to say about them in an interview with CNN's Kate Bolduan. Let's listen to that.
Part of the task now is to see whether Iraqi leaders are prepared to rise above sectarian motivations, come together, compromise. If they can't, there's not going to be a military solution to this problem. There's no amount of American firepower that's going to be able to hold the country together, and I made that very clear to Mr. Maliki and all the other leadership inside of Iraq.
So the advisors are going in a sense, Nick, to put the Iraqi government to a test. Is that a test the Iraqi government can pass?
Well, there doesn't seem any momentum at the moment for the Iraqi government to change and a new one be established. Constitutionally, it's supposed to be. Over the next 60 days, or within about 60 days from now, there should be a new prime minister nominated, who then has another 30 days to form a government. That's what's laid out constitutionally. But there's another imperative here at work for the United States, for Iraq, and for various European leaders and the countries themselves as well. What is it? Simply this, that the longer ISIS has in control of these sort of Sunni areas of Iraq, the more dug in it will become, the more established it will become, the harder it will become to be rooted out. That makes it harder for the Iraqi army to drive them out, to reunite the country, whatever the political deal is. But beyond that, ISIS are seen as a big threat in Europe, exporting terrorism from Iraq now and Syria as well. So there is this other element at work here. The United States desperately wants to see the Iraqi government stabilize the country. Part of the rationale is that if they don't, ISIS will get stronger and threaten the security of Europe and potentially that of the United States. So there's a huge amount at stake here, if you will, Jonathan.
Nick Robertson, live in Baghdad. Thanks very much.